back.
Yes, hello, welcome back to Shelbe Extension. Woo! I'm Alexis.
And I'm Shelby.
And we're gonna talk about fan fiction.
One of my all-time favorite things ever. Ever.
Yeah, I didn't really get into fan fiction. Like, I remember I read a little bit in like middle school, but then I just never really looked back at it until a couple months ago when I was staying with her at her house and I was like, I'm bored.
And I was like, read some fan fiction! What are you doing? Read all the fan fiction!
So, we're just gonna talk about fan fiction for you.
Yeah.
So yes, what exactly is fan fiction, Shelby?
So fan fiction is, well, you have like your favorite TV show, movie, manga, video game, really anything, any media type that you like that has, you know, character, story, plot, all that good stuff. And you're like, hey, I want to write a story featuring my favorite characters or my favorite, you know, whatever. And you go and you write your own story with those characters. So that's basically what fan fiction is.
It's literally what you want to happen, or what you want it to happen, and writing it out. Like, a lot of people will do their own characters, which obviously in essence is putting yourself into the story to experience things with said characters and stuff. Like,
those are called OCs.
Yes.
Which are original characters.
Original characters.
So, which is one of my favorite things about fan fiction is that, so a lot of times you're watching a show or you're reading a book and things happen within the story arc. And you're like, well, I would rather it had gone this direction. So then with the fan fiction, you can take it that direction. You can explore the things that like you weren't sure about or that you would rather have seen happen, or, you know, just something that you thought might have been cool to add to the story.
Yeah.
So you can really just do anything you want with your characters or with the original characters. And it's awesome that you can kind of share that love of that particular series, show, book, whatever, with other fans. And then you can be like, oh, I had the same thought as that person and they wrote it out and oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And then you kind of gush about it and you're like, ah. Yeah.
I don't know. Because, yeah, like I said, it's like I started reading in like middle school.
Back when dial-up.
Yeah, and
I remember dial-up.
I was super into My Chemical Romance and I was like in love with the lead singer. And then like, that was like my first ever fan fiction I ever read, was someone writing about an OC and whatever his name is, I can't even remember what's his name. Gerard Way.
Yeah.
And I remember that. But then like that was it. And then I never touched fan fiction again.
Whereas I started in middle school and it just kept going from there.
Yeah. Like I didn't even know like there was like a lot of fan fiction websites and stuff. Like I figured there were, right? But like I didn't realize
I showed her the ways.
a lot, how much was going on.
Back when, you know, you first started, you really couldn't find a lot, and then when you did read it, you had to wait for the pages. I remember waiting 10 minutes and like going to make a snack for my page load on one of the very first ones I ever read from was like Destiny's Gateways. She's had stuff forever. Oh yeah. And she writes really good original stories on her website, and then she lets other people post as well. And I remember reading on there, and she always had long segmented pages, so you could read a big chunk and then go to the next page. So you'd have to like wait as it loaded chunk by chunk, and you'd come back and check on it and you'd be like, I'm not gonna read the story until the whole page is loaded. Yay, dial up.
Oh god, that was fun stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, there's so many different websites for it now, like ridiculous amounts. Although one of the best ones is fanfiction.net, which is pretty legit. It has all sorts of different kinds of genres and subcategories.
You have, like, cool search engines to find exactly
and you can specify by character, by genre, by rating, which I showed her is pretty fantastic. Because sometimes you just feel like you want something a little bit more racy, a little bit more smutty. You don't want it to just be like PG, like, oh, and they like held hands and this was beautiful. You want that just va boom, just throw her down. But sometimes there's actually like, you know, it's called lemon when there's sex scenes or sexually explicit scenes, or it's called a lime when it's like a sexual scene but there's no actual sex involved, like penetration. And then fluff is when it's just kind of like, maybe you guys are making out. That's called fluff. Yeah. And usually there's a spoiler about it in the summary, like, oh, you know, warning, there's lemon, warning, there's lime, or just mild fluff, which is nice. And then you can also like filter that out and all that. And there's crossovers. Oh yeah. Which are kind of cool, so you can take any
character from one thing, from a character from another thing, and put them together.
Usually they do like series, movies, like all that, and they cross them over, which is pretty cool. And then you have like alternate universe things, and it gets really intense.
Yeah, a lot of people just like explore everything, and it's insane.
And it's really awesome.
It's cool, because it's like, I remember, like, I don't know, it's like one of those things where it's like, I've always thought fan fiction, right? Like, and I think of like fantasize, you know, whatever, about certain things, about characters, but I never really thought to actually like write it down and like create my own fan fiction. Just never did, you know? It's just something I never did. Just never thought about it. So it's insane to like when I read this and I'm just like, damn, you know, just like, you're just doing it. And it's insane. Just like how creative people can get.
I had a co-fan fiction I wrote with somebody. We wrote a fan fiction together. We would IM it or email it back and forth, and so we'd both be adding to the story. Yeah. But no, I wrote my first fan fiction, kind of. It was mostly for us, not for anyone else. But it was in middle school.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty cool.
So, Shelby, tell me about your OTPs and like what you search for fan fiction.
So my OTPs are Sesshomaru and Kagome because she deserves a real man.
A real man.
And that's Inuyasha's older half brother. Scandalous. But that's my first one true pairing, and it was really the first one true pairing I had.
Yeah.
And then it moved on to Alucard and his fledgling Ceres Victoria from Hellsing, because that's just awesome. Oh, it's so beautiful. But those are my true pairings. Those I only really have two, and that's kind of what I look for. I look for, you know, like sometimes you want a quick fix, and you can filter out different stories by what the word count is. So if you want like a quick fix story, or if you want something that's like, I've read some that are 300,000 words, which is awesome because you can read it forever.
Yeah.
But it also kind of sucks sometimes because you're like, that's a lot of reading to do. But but yeah, I don't know. Just I look for, you know, a strong female character and a strong male character that have good chemistry together and an interesting writing style in my fan fiction. And you can actually find that in a lot of good places. So, who are your OTPs, darling?
Well, I'm still not like fully immersed into the fan fiction culture.
I joined in it long ago.
Thing. So when I first started reading it a couple months ago when I was at your house, I started looking for Loki fan fictions. Cause
yeah, she did.
Come on, it's Loki.
I could hear her giggling from the other room.
But yeah, I would look for like Loki and just OCs, because obviously there's not like that many female characters in the Marvel universe.
And especially that you want to see with Loki.
So I looked for a lot of that, and then like I just kind of stuck to Marvel because Marvel's kind of everywhere right now.
It's familiar.
And I love like all the Marvel characters and all like the storylines, and so I like searched for a lot of Winter Soldier ones because obviously that character didn't get really explored in the movie, and I'm really excited for that third Captain America to come out to see what happens with that. So like stuff like that. What else? I remember I tried to read some Alucard and Ceres Victoria ones, and
she just couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. But otherwise, yeah, like a lot of Marvel. I kind of just stick it to Marvel, and any like movie that comes out, then I'll kind of see like if there's any fan fictions about it. But yeah, I mean, I keep myself pretty busy on BookTube nowadays with regular books, so. But I did want to talk about what you think about fan fiction that actually gets published and sold. Like 50 Shades of Grey, which, okay, let's just talk about that real quick. 50 Shades of Grey, obviously you started out as a Twilight fan fiction, right? But then like she made it, twisted it around so much that she tried to sell it, obviously she's selling it as a romance, you know, or fucking whatever the hell you
whatever
call
it is.
That. So, but like in its essence, it's a fan fiction. So like that in itself really kind of pisses me off because it's like, it's not really an original story and context or storyline, plotline. It literally, if you've ever read 50 Shades of Grey, that whole series, it literally,
which I haven't.
It literally follows the Twilight series. Like every event, everything, just with added sex and shit in there and different character names in a different setting. Kind of not though, because it still takes place in Seattle, which is fucking retarded.
Yeah, I mean, if it was being sold as, you know, an original story, that would be cool. Like, I mean, if you took inspiration from something that you liked and made it a fan fiction, so like if they, let's just use Twilight since we're talking about 50 Shades of Grey. If they had taken inspiration from Twilight to adapt it into like their own characters and settings and situations, but still held that kind of
dynamic.
Yeah, then that would have been one thing, but I mean,
it literally follows the story.
I feel like if you're gonna publish a fan fiction, you should say that it is a fan fiction and not just kind of hide it and embellish it and say that, oh, this is an original story. Like, yeah, this just came off the top of my head. Because I mean, give fan fiction the credits where it's due and give the original work the credit where it's due. So in that case, that's just kind of like, I feel like it's smearing fan fiction and the original work. Like, I want to know that it's fan fiction and I want to appreciate it for it being fan fiction. Like, oh, that was really creative and cool that you took the original story and you made it this awesome different thing. That's really cool. Don't just, you know.
Yeah, because it's like, I also know there's like supernatural fan fiction.
Yeah.
But that gets sold like, she self-publishes her stuff and then it gets sold.
Or people will make like comic books out of fan fiction.
But it's like they buy it obviously knowing it's straight up legit fan fiction, but they can actually own and like contribute to the author. So that way, if you're self-publishing and it's legit straight up fan fiction, go for it. You know, obviously people will buy that, that's fine. But it's just like, but if you literally take it straight up fan fiction and try and cover it with this idea and like make it seem like it's something else, then that really pisses me off because it's just like,
it's cheap. It's a lie.
Yeah,
and it feels not.
Yeah, it feels cheap. It's just kind of like, wow, like come on. You might as well should have just done it as regular Twilight fan fiction. Which is funny because I also heard like the City of Bones. I think it was Book Addiction. She was talking about it that Cassandra Clare's stuff was a Harry Potter fan fiction. And she doesn't really like her, but I never connected that. And so I'm just like, now I'm like, what? So I had to like, I haven't read that series in a long time, but I heard from what she said that that's a Harry Potter fan fiction as well. And that's a really popular series just for young adult and on BookTube. And I haven't read it in so long that I kind of want to reread it again just to see if I can find that. I don't know. That's crazy. But yeah, again, kind of like the whole thing where it's just like, oh, once you realize it's just like, oh, okay.
Strange.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It just feels like, can't you come up with
something better?
Yeah.
Something different. Or at least acknowledge the fact that it is a fan fiction, that you did get help or, you know, borrow some stuff from something else, which everyone does. Everyone takes inspiration from things and they borrow ideas and, you know, they make it their own. Say you did that. Don't just cover it up in some fake bondage BS because really.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about 50 Shades of Grey, we just wanted to bring it up because obviously the movie comes out next week, which I'm gonna fucking see it. But
I'm gonna see it.
I'm gonna see it because I want to see what they do with it. Because one, that's just like a racy topic anyway. Because obviously
it's not very mainstream.
Yeah, and then so I just kind of want to see it, just to see it.
And the actors look cool, so I mean, you know, that's one thing.
It's one of those things where it's like they could potentially make it better than the book anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to see it just to see it. But I will argue with anyone who thinks that that series is like the most amazing thing.
I didn't read it because she told me not to.
Yeah, like,
to be honest,
it's just like the first book. Liking the first book is one thing. Okay, I relatively did like the first book because I saw the connections, I saw how it worked, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely Twilighty. But I figured with the next book, because obviously there was some different dynamics, I was like, oh, okay, hopefully she expands on that and that gets better. No, she like straight up relies on that whole Twilight plot line and storyline, and it follows absolutely everything to a fucking T, and it pisses me off. Like, by the third book, I was so done. Like, I was ready to, if I had physical copies, I probably would have burned it.
Yeah.
I had it on my ebook.
She was so pissed. She was texting me, Shelby, do not read these books. Don't you dare. And I'm like, would I hate them? Yes. You would hate them. And I was like, would I rather just read Laurel K. Hamilton again? Because that's some real good bondage shit. And that's an original storyline. So again, Laurel K. Hamilton, you guys, you need a Blake series.
Yeah. I don't even know. But otherwise, yeah, the integrity of fan fiction, just like once it reaches that step,
yeah,
it's something else completely. But fan fiction, in its essence,
is pure, and it's just sharing awesome. The love of your fiction, of your fandom,
and
really.
Sharing it with others, and just being able to just mess around with it, but not take it like too seriously. Which again, once that gets into actual publishing, then that goes into another level.
Exactly. Like one of my favorites, I think on DeviantArt, she's Yokai Yumi, and she does this really cool. One of my OTPs, Sesshomaru Kagome. She did a little comic that follows kind of like, it kind of goes along, you can see where it would go along kind of just a normal part of their journey in Inuyasha and Kagome and the whole group, but then throws in little side meetings with Sesshomaru and develops their relationship, and I think she actually sells it like through her DeviantArt, and that is really cool.
Yeah, that's actual like
art. It's so cool. And she does such a beautiful job.
Again, it's just like, you actually sell it as fan fiction.
And it is. It's sold as fan fiction. Her, you know, the characters aren't hers, but it's, you know, my story. You know, just be honest, and it's cool.
Yeah, and people
I love fan fiction.
And I think that's, again, another reason why everybody's like so torn about that. So yeah, I just want to know about
one of my true loves, fan fiction. Beautiful, you guys. And it's free, by the way.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is nice. So just kind of something as a little hobby you do.
Have you guys ever written fan fiction? You should let me know. Have you written fan fiction?
Or read fan fiction? Do you have a favorite fan fiction? Do you have a favorite OTP?
Or website that you go to?
All that stuff. So, you know, just comment below, leave it down there, and let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Check you guys out later.
She's awesome. Do it, guys.
Okay, now. Bye.
Bye.